Hello dudes and dudesses. Today we're gonna look at how to build a building from a picture you find on, let's say, Google or something like that. Some medieval church or cathedral or some other kind of special build. I hope to take you through some of my design choices. How do I choose the materials? How do I choose to texturize? What can I copy directly? What do I need to approximate, and so on. I'm gonna take you through my process of building this building from a picture. I chose this because it's interesting. It has some challenges on the roof line and on the curves and on the materials and so on. And how do you copy this, or rather how do you approximate this to Minecraft? And as you know, if you follow this channel, I like to build in player scale. And then you have to be quite creative to make it work. Now I won't show you a color palette for this because we're going to find that out as we build. But the building clearly is a square building, which is also quite interesting because we don't have that many square buildings. So there's a lot of things that we will be trying out here that's kind of difficult to do in Minecraft. Not that square is really one of the things that's difficult to do in Minecraft. Hey-ho, it's hip to be square. I laid down cobble and I will try and find the middle. I think it's here. So I made this uneven because on the picture it's very clear that the roof meets at a very peak angle. So it's almost always easier to build with an uneven amount of blocks. One of the first things that we need to do is we need to make the window, and we need to decide how much of the space it actually takes. Now I decided to go with glass panes because they kind of get a nice indent that makes it look more like windows. So you basically get something from nothing there instead of having full blocks. So we build up this, how high? 3 high, 4 high, 5 high. Now obviously we're going to be using bricks because the house is made of bricks, but I actually started one too low because there is at least one brick here above the foundation. So this is probably it. Now if we look at the picture, we have an arch, and the arch is quite special because it goes up over the line that separates the roof from the rest of the building, so you don't see that that often. So I actually think we need to go up one more at least. And now we need to make the arch. Let's try and put in something right here. Yeah, that looks okay for now, but if we try to put in a wall on the other side instead, let's see what happens, because then you have a small indent there as well, and it's all about the details. Yeah, I like that one better. But in order to make the arch, we need to put an arch outside the window, so we probably need to make this one wider than I originally thought. Something like this. Now if we put a stair there and a stair there, no, that's too high. If we put a stair there and a stair there, how is that looking? Not too bad, I think. Now let's just try something like this. We could try to put stairs here as well, but it kind of gets more angled than round. But let's just try it out, for instance, like this. It's not that round, I think. Maybe if we make this one a full block instead, let's see if it seems. I think that seems more rounded than if we use 2 stairs. So I'm probably gonna go with this look right here. Now let me just change out this side as well for walls. Now that's beginning to look like something. We have this weird thing sticking out, so probably we need to have a wall here as well. That's not half bad. If we want to have the same arc replicated on the inside of the house, we need to have exactly the same here. So we need to have, in this case, a 3 deep wall to make it work. Let's just do something like this. Maybe, but we could probably make it more interesting by doing something like this. Then the line right there connects with the line down there. And remember, this is not texturized. It won't be that bland brick all the way. And now I've built out the walls on each side, and again, don't worry, it won't be that bland, but just to see the proportions of it, and this seems to be fairly okay. I built it out one more on each side, and now we need to have the steep roof on it, and the question is, where does it start? Should it start here, or should it start here? Probably one outside of the window. Now I already immediately rejected using bricks. I should, that's how it looks in the picture, but it would just simply be too bland. No matter how much we texturize this, if we make the whole roof of bricks, it just will be one solid block, a blurry block of the same color and material. So what I've opted for in the first instance is to try and just concentrate on the borders and maybe make them white like in the picture. So if we do something like this, and then we try to build up, let's see, 1, 2, we have a middle there, and then we just go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. That's not half bad. Let's just try a different material, like for instance the polished diorite. That wasn't the polished diorite. Maybe do something like this. How's that working out? I actually think that this right here needs to be one higher. So maybe something like this. And then we take out that one and we put a slab right there, and we go in here and make the windows one higher. The arch of the window has to go up underneath this layer right here. So maybe something like this. Yep, I think that's more like the picture. This is really nice. It's white and everything, but maybe I wanted more grungy, as I said. So I'm just going to try something over here. Let's just try this out with cobblestone stairs to start off with. It may not be the right choice, but I think maybe this could be the right way to go. Then we need another stair right here. We need to put these here. Yep, I kind of think I like that. Now the question is, you cannot have it like this. What do we do? The normal thing to do would be to do like this, and maybe we should put one there. But it does look very thick. That's always a problem, I think, with in Minecraft. It's these roof lines here. Now this clearly doesn't work because it gets very 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, but this doesn't work either. So what can we do? Normal diorite stairs down here. It does make a difference. It kind of dissolves it a bit, the massiveness of it. If we then try to do something like this, maybe. I'm thinking that maybe we're onto something right now. I kind of made a wall here and I put these here, which means that these of course are not in the picture, but we do have something here on the side, so maybe we can emphasize this with having this here, and that lends this to us so that we can have this going in, so we get this shape kind of right here. Now that took a surprisingly long time to figure this out, but we needed the space up here because right here and right here, if you look at the photograph, we need to have something in there, some kind of indent of some kind, and I'm thinking maybe walls, but walls of course connect to the sides, so we need to do something like, if we go on this side and place a stair there, a stair there, and a stair there, and then we kind of close it off like this, and we have the indents that I like to have there. Now probably a lot of you would choose this side over here because it's nice, it's white, it's clean, but I really don't like the thickness of this, and you don't have quartz walls or anything else, so I'm gonna go with this side over here. Now I made these here on the side of the window, and it's very hard to get it the same as in the picture, but it's kind of just, you know, emphasizing that there's something there that divides up the space, and I used granite and polished granite for it. And now I'm looking at the foundation again, because before we only basically had cobblestone, and we can do something with that. We could use mossy cobblestone, and we can if we want to make it old, we can do something like, you know, this to rough it up a bit. But I'm thinking this is 117, and now we have deep slate. It's a very uniform kind of block, just like cobblestone. We're just used to seeing cobblestone. Now it's a bit darker than the photo, I think, but what we can do is, if we put in some, what's it called? Actually, it's just called deep slate. This is cobble deep slate, and we put in a couple of these here and there. And then with deep slate, when you place it down, it has one color, but if I place it like that, you can see it has a lighter color, which gives us some options to make this be more dynamic. Let's just look at this. We probably need a bit more of this, and then we can rough it up a bit. There we have cobble deep slate. We will put this like there, and maybe there, just to make it look just a tiny bit older and more used. Now I think I'm happy with this, so I'm going to replicate this on 4 sides, and we'll take it from there. And now, as you can see, I built the walls up all the way around, and it should all be the same as the first one we built right there. Now we do need to do something with these right here, so I will just go around and do this, and then I will decide for one side to be the entrance, because that looks to be a bit different. Now there's something about this wall, besides it being very bland still, that kind of doesn't work for me, and it's about this part up here. And I was thinking we could do something maybe like this. I know it's not in the actual picture, but that's the whole approximation part. I kind of need to put in some more details, strangely enough. Even though there's less room, I need to put in more details than there actually are specifically there in the picture. Wood, some kind of wood would be good. So let me just try and put this here as well. Maybe like this. Put it all the way around like here. It kind of makes it more exclusive, I think. And what I wanted was actually to make it maybe slightly less exclusive. Now I'm gone weirdly into something that is basically detailing, but just to change it up just a little bit. Now over here, before starting that build, I already tried out some materials on this, and that is why it can sometimes take so many hours to make a build, because I do like this in creative before I build it in survival, and then in survival you actually need to go out and gather the material before you build it. So I wanted to show you that this just didn't work for me. Even though I could have mixed this up with some granite and stuff, it still would not work. It would be too much the same. And maybe I could have made it work with cobblestone. That's not entirely impossible. And I could do deep slate, because that would, fit nicely when you have it down here. But it would also make the build much more somehow high class or refined. I actually forgot, this looks pretty good. I want to use some of these deep slate coal ores in there. Now what I actually ended up with thinking what looked the best was these kind of warp stairs, and a mix of different degrees of weathered copper with this, what's it called, prismarine brick stairs, and maybe put in one or two of these to break it up. That was kind of the thing that I think looked the best, so I'm gonna try and build that up over there just to see how it looks. So now we have this, and we need to connect them up and build the big roof in the middle. Usually I texturize while I build, but I haven't done this on the building itself because I wanted to go through it with you. But building up the roof, I think I will make a mix of these three kind of primary stairs like this, and I will just use them, mix it in like this, and now we have the roof in place. And it took surprisingly a long time to do, and as you can see, it's also a fairly complicated roof. That's why I chose it. And I'm just right now evaluating whether I like the fact that these are having their own color specifically, and these are kind of a mashup because they're in different degrees of decay. Maybe I would like to mix in something here as well, but I'm still taking it in. But what you can see is that this does by no means resemble the picture, and that's what you have to do a lot of the time in Minecraft. Is, in my experience, you have to change up something simply because it does not work in Minecraft. Had I used bricks, even though I might have been able to mix in some granite stairs and some polished granite stairs, it would still have been just one big blob. And we want details in a build so that the roof is clearly visible and stands out from the walls. So I went for this instead, keeping the feel somehow to the build more than keeping the colors or the exact block palette. So now I mixed in some prismarine in the green here, and making this being in somewhat the same state of decay as the rest of the roof. And I think probably that works better for me. Let me just, that is, we actually need to do like this. If you look at it from the top, and you also fly by a lot, I suppose, in many worlds, this is kind of beautiful in its own way. If we look at it from the ground, that's the important part, so we can kind of distinguish that part of the roof from that part of the roof. I think it works. I think it works. Therefore I am A-ho, it's hip to be square. And now I want to texturize this, and I'm guessing, without knowing, that it will probably split the waters. People will have different views on how much texturizing a build like this needs. I like to texturize my builds quite a lot, and I like to make them, as you can almost see on the roof, I like to make them being used old, probably because it fits in my world how I build. So what I do is I, for instance, take this and I put this random places, not necessarily too much here, because here they serve another purpose. So like this, and then I would like to take some terracotta like this, and some red terracotta like this, put it in there, be fairly liberal with it, I would say. We can change that one out. You have to look at it from a distance, and then maybe even go further and say we want to have some old corners like this, and this one we want just to have like this, and maybe even one up here that's like this. And it's not an exact science doing this, it's all up to you, and I think people's preferences are quite different when it comes to this. I'm going to try something that I'm not sure will work out. I want to try to put in some of this as well. What's it called? The dripstone block. I'm doing this a lot right now, and maybe I'm overdoing it, but it's just to get a point across that if you have brick is a very uniform block in Minecraft. It's all the same, and when you put them together, it very easily gets very heavy. So you have to break it up somehow. To be honest, I can, and usually do, spend hours and hours on this. This is probably where I spend most of my time. That's when I'm texturizing the builds. We have these, and they're used for something specific right here. But if we go away from that area a bit, and we try to make sure that it's not on the same height and not too close, we might be able to sneak in one of those as well, just to make it more three-dimensional. I probably could live with this. You could also, let's try over here, work more in patches, like for instance do something like this, and then over here do something like this, and let this work over, and then perhaps with all the patches we do something like this. So that's part of the patch design. On this side though, I would like to do something different. That is the entrance. We need to have an entrance to this, and I think maybe we will have the entrance at this height right here. We could just make a door here, but it would look incredibly modern, I think. So what we need to do is to bring in some wood around it, I think. Not bad, actually, not bad. Maybe I would want to make this one in the middle right here, because if you look at the picture, one of them just has one right there. Let's try and put it in here. I'm gonna hold off on this. Let's try and perhaps do something like this. That could work. I want to try something like this. and like this. Yeah, I'm thinking like that. And then we just need to put in stairs right here, and then we need to look at this as well, because this is, everything else is kind of texturized, and well, not this side, but on the sides we have done it is texturized and, you know, old and a bit crumbly, and this is all pristine. So we kind of have to look at this as well. What we can do is, for instance, here we can change out one of these, just, you know, one like this, because this looks more broken down than this does. A normal slab like this, and then we can do like this, just to break it up slightly, and we can do that up here as well. Maybe those two. This actually doesn't fit very well. Let me just try and put some banners here. I mean, they're boring because they're white, but just to make it official. I don't know if I like the patches more or this side that is more randomly broken up. Probably this side. How high would it need to be? There, like this. It's kind of official looking now. I put in some spruce buttons there, maybe, or dark oak buttons rather. Maybe they're too hard. For the foundation we can also do something. This is a trick I quite often uses. If you go like this around a build, and on the other side as well, and then look at it like that, and of course we don't want dirt down here. Either deep slate tiles, which are darker, or there's maybe a mix. Yeah, I kind of like this. And this extra depth that you get by doing this, it actually does make a difference. It is heavy. It is heavy, with it is very dark. So maybe you could go with cobblestone that I started with originally, but it does also bring something to a build. I think maybe now it looks especially hard because I have whitish up here and I have blackish down here. So it kind of, you know, clashes a bit, I think. Now when you see it like this, you may want to put in these columns at all sides. That was a possibility as well, even though you're moving further and further away from the original picture. Now if you want totally crazy, if we're going, you could do something with wood in here as well, or with dirt, coarse dirt. You have to look at it not as a block that it is, but as an accent, as something that's breaking up the wall so that you don't have too big bland spaces. I think the basic idea of having a reference photo that you want to build off, you can kind of get a style that matches what you want in your world. That's a very, very good idea, no matter how almost that you apply it to your world. And then there's the whole texturizing bit and the adapting of scale and what you can actually do when you scale down the build. Maybe you would have done it differently. Maybe you would have texturized it much less. Maybe you would have it more uniform or looking newer. But hopefully, either way, you have become more aware of what you do yourself when you actually build and texturize. And maybe you have gotten some kind of outline for a work process. And don't beat yourself up too hard if it takes a long time. Figuring everything out. If I take the time that I use in a creative world and resource gathering, for instance, copper and deep slate and smelting glass, one house like this could easily take me 6, 7, 8 hours. Yep. That's how long it could take, because I use a lot of time walking around looking at my texturizing, for instance, trying to think of other ways to do it. Maybe I change out an entire block everywhere in the build. So yeah, it takes time to build, but Using pictures, I think that is a good idea almost no matter what kind of build you want to do. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it useful. If you did, remember to leave a like because it helps out the channel enormously. And if you're brand new, subscribe, hit that belly button so you get notifications when I put out other videos. And then I just hope to see you in the next one. Bye.